Everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm AJ Zare, and I'm joined by the human centipede, Rich Stambolian.
I'm the human the centipede or centipede?
Centipede.
We've had this conversation like 3 years ago. You mispronouncing the word centipede.
Centipede.
Because you keep saying centipede.
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 Not centipede.
Centipede.
What's going on? Big
I
shout
want
out.
you to be a centipede.
All right, why? You want me to be in the middle?
Yeah.
Like Malcolm in the middle?
Yeah.
Big shout out to Chris Apita, by the way. This is your third shout out.
He gets a third one. So what was the deal? He was listening with no pants on?
I forgot. Whatever, man. He's a cool dude. He's one of our.
He said that in a way that he's not a cool
He
dude.
is a cool dude. One of our longtime listeners, Chris Apita. Big shout out. Well, big
Matt
kisses.
Mennonite.
Little Kawhi for you.
Guys, busy weekend for us, huh? Saturday, we broke the internet with some breaking news.
Good stuff, man.
On Saturday, we discussed a couple of the rumors and news that we were told by somebody at WWE, and turned out they were all true because Dave Meltzer confirmed on Sunday morning. What did he confirm on Sunday morning that I was yelled at about?
The Mandalorian, I think.
No, Mandalorian was Ryan.
The first part of the news that broke.
God, my brain is broken.
Same,
man.
you know what? Same here. I think it's the weather. I think there's like
Think
a
so?
gloom outside.
Yeah.
And whenever it's rainy, I feel like I like this kind of weather. I feel like I stop functioning.
John Cena.
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer confirmed that John Cena confirmed that it's a scheduled match. Now I'm very curious if they're going to change it, if it's going to be Elias. But everybody gave us credit, which was great. They gave you credit. They gave me credit. It was
Cool.
It was nice to see that people are actually doing their due diligence and finding out where the source is. Sean Ross Sapp, this dude was on his game.
Absolutely.
Not only did they publish it, but he goes, I just want to let you guys know, first, this came from Matt Men.
The podcast.
Which was nice, the podcast. Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know your source's name.
Yes, I do.
You know who it is. Have you talked to them on the phone?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Is it Bruce Pritchard?
It is not Bruce Pritchard.
I want to go down the list of people.
I've spoken to him in person.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so local guy.
Not anymore.
Interesting. Okay.
No,
Cool.
not anymore.
I'm not trying to find who this guy. We're not going to out this guy clearly.
It's
but,
Paul Heyman.
It's oh my god. It's from Scottsdale.
It's Paul Heyman.
Scarsdale. It would be hysterical if it was just like somebody, like not reputable, but somebody who has on-camera experience. Coach.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I'm not going to name names.
It's not going to be Coach. I know it's not Coach.
It is not Coach.
I know you're not going to name names, but I think that's great. I think it's really nice that somebody reached out and said like, "Hey, man, check out the stuff that's happening right now."
Yeah. Let's see. So NXT Takeover this Sunday. It passed. I thought it was a phenomenal show. We did a watch along. Rich and I are going to go through that. We're going to talk about Raw. We're going to talk about some of the other rumors. AJ Styles hinting at his potential WrestleMania opponents. He did a Goldberg What's Next, but he also mentioned The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels to kind of throw everybody in a monkey loop. I don't think anybody wants to see AJ Styles and Bill Goldberg. Do you want to see that over The Undertaker?
No, I want to see The Undertaker all the time. When Goldberg, I wish WWE was like a little more tongue in cheek with the humor sometimes, because when Goldberg says like "What's next" or "Who's next," I kind of want them to just follow him, like leaving the arena, like getting on a public bus, going to his hotel, and just like ordering Chinese food,
That's
and then
what's
just
next.
like, this is what's next. And just watching TV. He can't sleep. He gets a weird phone call at like 3 a.m. He's just like, "Hello, who are you looking for?" No, wrong number.
He just lives the life of a psychopath.
Yeah, just you know,
belligerent, everything he does. Let's talk about NXT. Do you have the NXT card? Because, man, what a show it was. I absolutely loved everything about this show. The worst match, what do you think the worst match was on that card?
Why would you say that? By the way,
I'm just saying because it was so good. What do you think the worst one was?
By the way, I'm good at my job, and I have the card right in front of me.
You do have it right in front of you.
You know what? That's tough to say because it was a 6-match card. Everything was pretty damn fantastic.
Top to bottom. Yeah.
I would say, in my opinion, like everything was so stellar. I would say if I had to pick the weakest match on the card, it was Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox, only because of that horrific looking bump
at the end
Tegan Nox took on the table, where it looked awful.
Yeah.
It sounded awful too.
Let's go down the card quick.
All right, boom. Keith Lee beat Dominic Dijakovic.
Match of the night?
20 minutes. I would say match of the night.
Phenomenal match. These guys did They got everything in.
Oh yeah.
Big guys didn't do a big man match, which you would imagine. These guys have wrestled off and on for years. This was more reminiscent of their PWG match.
Absolutely.
Where they got a lot of heat for because they went on like third and they they're gigantic dudes and
Big dudes.
did everything you could imagine. My God, if Keith Lee is not, I'm not saying a top guy, top guy at one point, they are going to do something terribly wrong with him. This guy is charismatic. He's believable.
Looks good.
He looks great. He has what a likable face.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's really that about Keith Lee that goes far. You look at this guy and you genuinely like him. Dominic what is he now? Dijakovic.
Dominic Dijakovic.
Yeah.
He's not Don. I like the name Donovan Dijak.
I like it so much better. It flows way better. He looked great.
Yeah.
But people are like, oh, he's gonna get called up now. No, man.
No.
Let the guy get in it a little bit more. He needs new gear.
You think so?
He definitely does. I don't like the shorts.
It's very rare that a wrestler could successfully pull off shorts. Okada's probably.
Then he went back. Didn't he go back to pants?
Yeah, but then he brought
back to shorts.
Back to shorts, and everybody went bananas.
They love the shorts. Man, I loved everything about this match. Two big guys doing moves that you would never imagine them doing. They gave him time. Stars. I mean, total, utter stars. Keith Lee, I don't want him to ever leave NXT, selfishly, because I think this guy's going to be so good on that show.
Yeah.
But when the time comes and they move him up, dude, I mean, everybody. I want him with everybody. I want to see him and Roman.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question for you about that.
Yeah.
And I had this thought while I was watching Takeover Portland. Okay. Is the NXT North American Championship the true IC belt now?
Dude, that's a great question.
Think about that.
I like that question.
Right? Because, like, the dudes who've held it has a great pedigree so far. They've been elevated
every single one
fairly well, you know? And as soon as Keith, like, that title defense, fantastic, man. That near fall when Dijakovic did the fighting spirit, he took the power bomb, rolled, held his neck, fighting spirit, took another power bomb. I do like how WWE is starting to incorporate like that kind of like New Japan kind of endings.
Yeah,
you know. And I was like, yo, this is the workhorse belt.
You know what? I have not heard anybody say that. I probably miss it. I'm sure somebody said, but I haven't heard anybody say that. But that title, the North American title, is the IC title of this generation. It's the workers' title. Every single one that's held that title belt has put on great match. I mean, Velveteen was probably the worst one.
You think so?
If you look at it, right?
Well, he's got hurt during his run, right?
He did get hurt, but you look at Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Right? Johnny Gargano.
Ricochet,
and Keith Lee. Every single one of them put on ridiculously unbelievable matches. It 100% is the IC belt of this generation.
Absolutely. Because I think the big difference between the main roster, if you can even call it that anymore, and NXT is that it feels like there's so much weight on the belts in NXT than there is on Raw or SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
So your US title, your tag titles, your heavyweight title, your women's title, they all mean something so much more incredible. And I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, but do you feel like those title matches have always been a draw for you? Like, ooh, who's gonna fight now?
For the IC and all those?
For all the belts on NXT.
Every single belt means, yeah.
Right. It means something.
Yeah, every single champion has meant something. I mean, in this generation, right? I'm sure that there was, when the Ascension had the early days of NXT, kind of hard to tell because it was still developmental. But when NXT stopped becoming a developmental territory, when they got that unbelievable roster of,
the
Kevin Owens,
Balor,
Finn Balor, even the Finn Balor generation, right? Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I'm just looking at this list right now. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. I mean, look at the wall here, right? We went to the show behind us. This was in New York. Every single one of this is a top star. I mean, I guess Eric Young would be the least. Who's on this?
Let's take a look at that.
Can't move it actually.
Oh,
I can't even. It's like stuck there. Yeah. But I mean, you got Ember Moon, you got Asuka, you got Nikki. But look at the main event here of this show. just unbelievable talent top to bottom. And it's still like that. And every time there's a mass exodus of talent, we look back and we say, oh my God, this may hurt him. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. No, they do a good job of rotating people, and they also do a good job of signing people and then like creating those new folks. You know what I mean? Like, did you ever care about like somebody like Dakota Kai like beforehand? Or Tegan Knox? You know, like they're creating like, or Bianca Belair, perfect example.
In-house
creations where Bianca Belair, I remember a year and a half ago, us and including the entire world were ragging on her just because like, she's too green, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yo, flash forward to this match. Fantastic.
Well, okay, so
come along.
You bring
way.
something up good,
Okay.
right? And this is a great question for the audience.
Good.
In-house creations in NXT. Who has been the best in-house creation for NXT?
Men's and women's?
Men's and women's.
Charlotte
Yeah.
by far.
Okay, that answers that, right?
Charlotte by far for the women.
From the Performance Center.
From the Performance Center. For the men's, it's like, I feel like the men's is a little more difficult because you have to really think about who had a career
Before
on the indies.
Okay,
right?
well, we could say Baron Corbin.
Great.
Right? We could say Braun Strowman, WWE creation.
Sure.
He had 8 matches before he came to the main roster.
Right. But he wasn't on NXT.
You know what?
Apart
Let's skip
from
that.
being like
Let's
a
skip
rosebud.
that. Yeah, he wasn't a Performance Center creation.
Do you count Bray Wyatt?
No, because he was FCW and
Okay.
But you know what though? Is it fair to count these guys? Like, forget about lineage. You know what? Roman Reigns, but he wasn't an He was an FCW guy. He went through developmental. I'm saying specifically the Performance Center.
NXT.
Charlotte, I don't think came out of the Performance Center.
I think she did.
Did
I
that
wanna say
version
yes.
of the Performance Center?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think she did. I want to say yes. I think Becky had experience.
Yeah.
Bailey was on the indies. I want to say probably Charlotte.
Sasha was on the indies.
Right.
Who's the men?
Who's the men?
Velveteen Dream?
Who's the man? Velveteen, but he hasn't broken through yet, right?
Yeah, I don't count him breaking through.
Okay.
Interesting, right? That though you could say so much more about the women.
Well, you know what's interesting about that Performance Center is that years from now we're gonna look back on it like we look back on that OVW roster.
Oh yeah.
Cena,
well, now with the
Batista.
ruthless aggression stuff.
Oh my God, Orton,
Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin, Brock Lesnar. You know, like we have like people are gonna look back and be like, yo, they had Keith Lee, they had Dijakovic. Dijakovic, I feel like if he looked more like bulkier,
Like Test.
I'm gonna go Test. Great physique, but I'm not gonna go Test. If he was a little more like buff, I can see Vince being like,
That's him.
you're on SmackDown now. You know.
All right. Let's go down this card. Good conversation though. I like how we went into 2 different topics there.
All right. So again, we're gonna go back to it. Dakota Kai beat Keith. Beat Keith Lee. Dakota Kai beat Tegan Knox.
That was the second match, correct?
Street fight. Yes.
Okay. I had zero expectation of this match
Same
because
here.
I wasn't invested in those 2 characters. I haven't really been following their storyline as closely because Wednesdays gets a little garbled up for me.
Yeah.
We have AEW, we have NXT. We're trying to do our best to cover everything, and at times you're going to miss something. I got to tell you, they really made me get into this match.
I agree with that.
I thought the 2 girls did unbelievable. They killed themselves. A lot of headshots with those trash cans.
Very fun. It was a very fun match. They really pulled out all the stops.
Until
I like Tegan Knox's New Zealand accent. It was very cute. Until I'm sorry for forgetting her name.
I want to call. First of all, she looks just like Daria. What's her name?
Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville. Looks exactly like Sonya Deville. Originally, so I was told actually that there was going to be a weird finish to this, and I said it on the air. At the time, my friend in NXT messaged me, and he's like, I was like, man, this match is great. He goes, oh, watch the end. That's what he wrote to me. So what happens, and somebody give me the name. I God damn it. I'm so sorry.
Is it Raquel Gonzalez?
It is Raquel Gonzalez,
Okay.
yeah. Raquel shows up. I had no idea who she was when I first... I mean, I know the name.
Same here.
But I'm not familiar with her work. I thought it was Sonya Deville, and I said to myself, holy crap, she got big. Like, jacked.
Yeah.
And I'm like... And it's zoomed in, and I still believe it's Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
At what point did you realize it's not?
When Beth Phoenix was like, "Oh my God, it's Raquel Gonzalez," like she was reading it off a sheet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's Raquel Gonzalez. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
I think on the Indies her name was Reina.
Reina Gonzalez. Yeah.
Okay, so cool little thing. You got like that Diesel Shawn Michaels thing going, and that's always money when you do that. It's always money when you put the heavy with somebody.
But
the end of the match would have seen Tegan Nox fly through the air, and I would assume like a big stomp on a prone Dakota Kai, right? Or like a frog splash or something.
So here's my issue with what happened,
Sure.
right? And you guys kind of lean into me on this. And I want to get your opinion. When you do, and first thing, whenever I see a big bodyguard and a smaller framed wrestler, I always think Diesel,
Shawn and Diesel.
and Shawn, or Sid and Diesel, and Sid and Shawn. That's always the go-to because it was done so well.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done it over and over again historically in wrestling, right? The big bodyguard versus and the little chicken shit heel.
It works sometimes, but when it doesn't work, we forget about it. Much like Triple H and that dude, Chris Hughes, Mr. Hughes.
Triple H and Chris Hughes.
Triple H and Mr. Hughes.
No. You're talking about Chris Jericho.
No,
Chris Jericho, Mr. Hughes.
They saddled Mr. Hughes with Triple H.
Did this happen?
I'm pretty sure that happened. For like,
oh, you know what? Maybe
after the
it did.
After the curtain call.
Oh yeah, yes it did.
I want to say that's what happened, and then they saddled Mr. Hughes with Jericho, right?
Yeah. So what bothered me about the way they did this was it was done in the reverse way.
Okay.
So normally, it was the reaction that threw everything off. So here comes Raquel, right? Kills the opponent, comes in, and now the person that she protected is afraid of her because she's so big. It is Hughes. Wow, that's terrible. She's afraid of her.
Yeah.
So she's like coward and doesn't know to shake her hand. It's always done the opposite way. Why would you? She wants to be her bodyguard. You didn't hire her to be your bodyguard. She decided she's going to do this. For what reason?
Very, very weird. I think I agree with you 100%. I feel like it should have been the devious laugh of like, ha,
we got him.
I won because of her. I hired her. And then they're going to do this thing and this thing. I'm
going to tell you, it was, and the way that it looked, it was only done the way that it was done because people didn't, they overthought it. And they're like, well, people are going to expect this. So let's just make it like she didn't know. I'm curious what they do on Wednesday with this, but
whatever.
Very good match, regardless of that ending. I think the ending did not work because she slipped off the table, but I can't take that away from the match.
Absolutely not. I think, like you said before, everything knocked it out of the park. That was the one moment for me that I was just like, ooh, But whatever. If I hope she's okay.
Very good match. Another great match.
Before we go into the next match, I just want to make a quick comment. How great was Mansoor on the pre-show?
Dude, he was so good.
Charismatic.
Yeah.
I know you're not a big fan of Sam Roberts, and he was really giving it to Sam Roberts.
I have nothing. I think people.
I think kayfabe, you're not a fan of Sam Roberts.
Yeah. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah. He's great.
He's a very nice guy. I have a lot of friends that are friends with him, and they work with him in radio. And I'm just whenever I I don't even rag on him. I get into his character. He's a real good heel, dislikable character. And that goes a long way. So whenever I'm like crapping on Sam, because I got a message from somebody, they're like, "You really don't like Sam, huh?" I'm like, "No, dude, I don't know him that well, but I've heard nothing but good stuff about him.
Yeah.
I could dislike a character and like the person."
He's a great twerpy heel on the pre-show.
So good.
So that being said, Mansoor, fantastic. Did a fantastic job.
Yeah, good for him.
That dude's winning the whole show at Super Showdown next weekend.
Every match.
Every match. Run in every match. Chair shots. Forget it. He's going to come out like Sandman. All right. Next match on the card that went 27 minutes and 22 seconds. Finn Balor beat Johnny Gargano. Loved it.
Okay. This match, at first, people were very critical. It was a very slow start. They started in first gear, and they slowly shifted up in this match. I thought it wasn't a high flying match. It was a exact hybrid of what NXT is like.
Absolutely.
We talk about wrestling styles. Like Keith Lee Dominic was a independent style of wrestling, right?
Absolutely.
They got every move in, every big move in, everything. This match was an NXT style match.
Absolutely.
Top to bottom. I do agree with you on the Japanese elements that are going into this match. Like
Yes.
the Keith Lee match, that was a very New Japan style,
Ending.
fired up at ending and getting into it. I really like this match. Do you think at this point, what's the match of the night for you? At this point in the pay-per-view?
Are you... Oh, I think... I'm going to agree with 100% with what you just said. Keith Lee versus Dijakovic, that was like your quote-unquote indie style match, right? That was like your internet darling match, right? Finn Balor beating Gargano, I enjoyed it as more of an NXT classic, right? Where that's just something to add to these guys' resumes. I particularly love the ending of the match too. And Finn is, people can knock this dude, but there's a reason why everybody loves this guy.
It's amazing how that injury derailed his whole career.
Maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
Maybe. We don't know. But it is amazing how this guy was a chosen one, and then he got hurt in that Universal title match, and that was it for him. I love that his the coup de grace is not his finisher anymore.
It's the 1916.
Which I've always said, I hate that finisher.
I know.
It looks so dangerous.
Yeah.
And it takes so long to do.
He really hit it on Gargano, too.
He did hit it on Gargano. And then that 1916.
Yeah.
He spikes you a little bit more now with that move.
Well, I think the way Gargano sold that also. And also, Gargano, man, he was looking pretty cut up, man. Like, he was looking nice and shredded.
How much body fat combined do you think was in that ring?
1%.
2%? Yeah.
1.5%.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
These guys don't have carbs. They just drink water all day.
Well, his diet is ridiculous, Finn Balor's.
Oh, I'm sure.
He rewards himself with 1 beer a week.
I'm sure.
Unbelievable.
The average person can't do that.
No, impossible.
But there's a reason why, he's Finn Balor. And also, I don't care if it's a rehash. I'm very happy with them going back to like a little bit of that Prince Devitt style of aggressive.
Very well done.
Aggressive, mean heel. It's more natural for him.
Very natural. He comes off so natural in that character instead of the smiley baby face. Just be a cool guy, man. Why can't you just be a cool guy?
And when they bring him back up, he's going to be the smiley babyface again.
Of course. And they're going to do the demon stuff.
Yeah. I was thinking he was going to come out as like I said,
I don't get
ICP
the Rasta.
makeup.
Yeah, I don't care for his Rasta ICP gimmick. He comes out as the Juggalo's logo. I hate it. What is that guy called?
I don't know.
Hatchet Randy?
Mr. Misty?
What is the their stupid hatchet called?
There's got to be some kind of juggalo in our chat room right now. What's that juggalo symbol called?
We have to have juggalos in the crowd. I went to a SmackDown taping, 1999.
Oh,
no, I'm sorry. No, 1999 I was front row. I went to ECW One Night Stand, the second one.
Oh, all the juggalos.
And I had a juggalo and a juggalette in front of me.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like 14 years old. And this guy was so obnoxious. The biggest, blackest dude was next to him. And he started screaming at him like a father screaming at a bad kid.
Oh, my God.
And the kid just cowered and took off the necklace, the juggalo necklace, and put it in his pocket. He got so scared of this guy.
He got embarrassed that
he got so embarrassed.
He was a juggalo.
Never forget that. I was with, my boy Jay?
No.
Puerto Rican Jay from the Bronx.
No.
I was with him. He was there.
Sorry.
My boy.
No. I don't think I've ever met any of your friends.
You never. No, I have weird friends everywhere.
Rhea Ripley beat Bianca Belair. 13-minute match. Felt like it was longer. Both these women completely delivered.
But you know what? This card was so high quality. This was probably the worst match on the card.
You think so?
Yeah, because it was. Jesus, you heard that? What is that?
What is that?
I just because of the caliber of matches. I mean, they did a great job, but we knew that Bianca wasn't going to win. We kind of knew that Charlotte was going to get involved. I think this match was kind of an in between, and it cooled everybody down before the main event, before the tag match. Which I agree with.
How did you feel about the end?
Charlotte coming in, and killing Bianca. I think they kind of set it up that maybe it'll be a 3-way
triple threat.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be a triple threat, but they did a good job of kind of creating that.
I think people are reading into that too much. Where they're like, "Oh, now it's going to be a triple threat." Keep it as a singles match where Rhea Ripley ends up pinning Charlotte. and that's her WrestleMania moment.
Rhea Ripley pinned Charlotte.
Absolutely.
I think Charlotte's going to win and set it up for Bianca and lose it to Bianca.
I don't think so. I think Rhea Ripley is going to beat Charlotte, and I feel like that's going to be her main roster push.
But here's the thing, right? This match is going to take place on WrestleMania.
In wrestling.
In a wrestling ring. Will the audience at WrestleMania be invested in Rhea Ripley?
I think so because from now until then, she's definitely going to show up on Raw. Remember what she did at Survivor Series? Like, the crowd really got behind her.
They did. They got tremendously behind her.
You know, she's got that.
But remember, not as much of a casual crowd. WrestleMania is a very casual wrestling crowd.
Okay. But she's got that superior it factor, I think, that can be molded into something else that can transition her into a larger than like Charlotte's larger than life. She could play a heel, she could play a babyface. The crowd will boo her, the crowd will get behind her, right? I think Charlotte's one of those heels that you can't wait for her to turn babyface.
Yes,
right?
I agree with you.
So having Rhea Ripley beat her, I think it's the heel getting the comeuppance. Shayna Baszler beating Becky, however, I want to see that.
Shayna beating Becky, I don't know if we will though.
Okay. Why?
I don't know. I just feel it.
I want to see more biting.
Oh my God! Can we talk about this? What is going on? That first of all, she cursed on Raw, which I like. I like that. But she has become a full-fledged bloodsucker, a vampire, a Dracule.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait till they paint her face white and she comes out of a coffin and flies around. Very much interested in this.
People in our chat room are talking about Juggalos. Right?
They're very upset. Nobody called them idiots.
The Juggalos are fine. It's just a funny thing. Whoop whoop. So that's our take on that match. Now you had the Broserweights, Matt Riddle, Pete Dunne beating the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. A 16-minute match. Great match, great back and forth. Everybody put in their best foot forward. How do you feel about them starting the match doing the Bobby Fish song?
I don't like it.
You said that last week.
I don't care for the Bobby Fish song. I don't think the audience really got behind it as much as that smaller audience at Full Sail did. I don't know, man. What do you think? Do you like it? I'm not.
I think it's. I enjoyed because it's.
He could pull it off.
It's silly. It's completely silly. And Pete no selling it is even better.
Pete no selling is even better. They did tease the breakup.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes.
Which I am very much looking forward to that breakup from happening.
But who do you turn heel in that? Pete Dunne? Just
Pete
because
Dunne.
he's just like he's such a great natural heel.
Yeah. Pete Dunne.
He was at one point the ultimate heel in NXT UK.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. So believable.
So good. Like the whole thing. Here's a dream match for you. Okay? And then we'll talk about the match. When I saw this, I was like, you know what I'd love to see if everybody was healthy? I'm going to make you shit your pants right now.
Oh, please, make me.
Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne.
Okay.
Versus RVD and William Regal.
That is such a awesome combination.
Right? What an insane dream match that would be.
Yeah.
Because Matt Riddle is basically RVD, right?
He's this generation's RVD.
For the most part. He's the RVD that could get away with smoking weed backstage.
Yeah.
Great match. A lot of good false finishes. The one thing that troubled me is they like to keep Matt Riddle as the MMA guy, where Kyle O'Reilly is also
an MMA guy,
and they didn't really go have like any kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
You know?
Bobby Fish is also a shooter.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Great match. What do you think of it?
I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was done really well. The ending was perfectly done. Mm-hmm. These guys worked very hard. You can see Bobby Fish is still banged up big time.
Mm-hmm.
But a very high caliber match. Every one of those guys is great. I would say that, there was nothing wrong with the match, but it was so much action throughout the entire show. I do want to say, and we'll talk about the main event, but I have one big issue with these big NXT matches, pay-per-views. The kickouts, the false finishes. It's too much.
You think so?
Too much. And I said this, what was that match with Punishment Martinez, and who was in that match?
Punishment Martinez, Killian Dane, and
yeah, that three-way.
Yeah.
It was too many, man. Too many, and it was to the point that you just stopped giving a shit.
Mm-hmm.
And when the finish came, you're like, oh, okay, that was the finish. It was too much. I think this is part of that NXT thing where they build up, big spot, false finish, big spot, kick out, big spot, kick out, big spot, kick out. You do too many of those throughout the entire show, and it's not as effective anymore.
Do you think they're suffering from aping that Japanese style a little too much? Because that's every,
I think it's more of the
a
combination.
Yeah.
Big main event WrestleMania level WWE match, including that whole Japanese kick out finish thing, and then you incorporate the independents. I think it's a bad combination of it. I think you need to pull it back a little bit.
Okay.
You don't need that many to make it effective.
I'll agree with it. I like a good false finish, though. I feel like it also depends on how you do. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
If you're not watching wrestling and tweeting or doing something for this show, do you watch it completely with an open mind without analyzing it?
I watch wrestling. So like this pay-per-view, I watched twice.
Okay.
I watched it during the watch along, and then I watched it the following day. When I watch it the following day, I'm watching it as a fan.
Okay.
I tend to enjoy it more when I watch it as a fan, and I think that's the problem. A lot of people don't enjoy wrestling because they're watching it to analyze it.
It's bizarre.
And they're they're not looking for what they like, they're looking for things that they don't like.
Yeah.
Because that's just how people are. People complain about the things that they, look at Yelp. Yelp is a great example of the internet. People go to Yelp. Nobody goes and says, like, oh, these french fries were freaking great, 5 stars. It's less people. More people go to complain than positivity.
It's always 1 star. They didn't bring out the water when I sat down.
Yeah, it's something like that. I think it's a combination of stuff. I'm not a big fan of the false finishes.
Okay.
The only way that the false finishes work is if, let's say, in a main event, you hit your big spot, doesn't work, and then you just do like a DDT and you win with a DDT. Okay. Then a false finish works because it was unexpected.
Right.
But when you're hitting big spot, it's just the same thing over and over again.
So it gets a little tiresome.
You gotta make the normal move, the non-finisher, believable as an ending in order to, and this is just, this is my opinion, in order to make the whole thing work.
Okay. Interesting. There's a good argument to be said about that. It's fascinating, too, because I feel like people's tastes, watching modern wrestling now, people's tastes are so specific where everybody has such an interesting palette for what works for them in professional wrestling, right? Yeah. Whereas, like, in the 80s, you had Hogan kicking out on 3. That was your, right? Like,
after.
Right.
After that was your big, I almost had him.
Right, and like maybe few and far between you'd get like that big false finish. And it was always a very drawn out. Maybe that's the thing. Let's try to compromise on that, right?
Yeah.
Unpack this a little bit. Maybe that's the thing with the false finishes now because they're not as impactful as they used to be. Whereas if somebody kicked out of a tombstone, there would be 3 minutes of Taker not being able to believe it.
That somebody kicked out.
Right.
Taker's not getting up and hitting you with a lariat and then going off the top rope.
Right. He's doing this. The crowd's going, what? You know, if somebody kicked out of Sweet Chin Music, same thing. Michaels he's setting up for another one. It's not as quick. It's not as slow as it used to be. So that's kind of like an interesting thing. Anyway, main event time, 33-minute match. Adam Cole beat Tommaso Ciampa. What a story going into it. I think somebody's trying to get in.
What did you think of the ending?
I enjoyed it. I liked the fact that I liked it. I didn't. The 2 things about this match, the big takeaway was 3 things. Adam Cole retaining, Tommaso's bump on the announce table.
Yikes, on his neck.
Yeah, which was very well done, I think. I think it was a very well done moment that made the crowd kind of gasp. And the Johnny Gargano heel turn, which I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel? Do you think, because they attribute it to he lost his mind losing to Finn Balor.
Okay, let me rewind a little bit.
Sure.
So it was very obvious that the Tommaso Ciampa return was done in the Austin return after his neck surgery.
Yes.
Him coming back to seek the gold, and they did a very good job at doing Austin and Triple H for that return match.
Yes.
With that said, I thought they looked great in the match. The ending, they had to do something. The Gargano turn, I think it's going to lead into this title belt means so much.
Yeah.
It's almost like Lord of the Rings.
Really precious.
It's precious. Everybody's seeking it to the point that you don't even care. You've lost control of what you would and wouldn't do to get that title. I mean, that's my interpretation, and I think it works thinking that way. I don't know how they're going to execute this, but also Is Gargano the heel considering what Ciampa did to him for a year?
Exactly. They did have that lukewarm DIY reunion for the Dusty Classic.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of interesting that I think you know why they're doing it. Right?
I mean, what is happening right now?
I think the dog's barking. What's up? What's the matter with you? You taking off? Yeah. Are you done? Is the studio mine now? I mean, if you think about it, if you take a step back and think about it, I think people were complaining about the Gargano thing a whole lot, only because they're like, oh, they're rehashing this old story. There's a reason they're rehashing this old story. They're rehashing it because now they have a lot of eyes on it on USA. So you can bring the storyline that worked between Gargano and Ciampa and put it on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
So this is almost like an in-house version of Generico versus Steen.
Yeah, sure.
Where they feuded on NXT before they were on USA, and now that they're gonna be on USA, you can get more eyes on it, and you can get more matches out of that feud that nobody
saw,
so
or an entire group of people didn't see.
Yeah.
I listen. I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. It didn't bother me. I thought it was a great show. At the end of the day, it was a great show and was setting up everything for Mania weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the purpose of this.
A lot of fun. Great event. Also, like, nice and quick. Boom, boom, boom. Started at 7. Was it over like before 10:30?
Before 10:30 was done. Yeah.
Oh
I would have rather had it on a Saturday.
Same here.
Watching these pay-per-views on a Sunday, it's really not necessary anymore.
No.
I kind of understand why they do it. It's like we were talking about this on the pre-show that I was doing during the watch along.
Yeah.
Is it necessary for WrestleMania to start so late? Why not have the main show begin at like 3 p.m. and then continue it to like 8, 9 o'clock?
I'm cool with like that 5-hour gap. You know, like even if it started at 5 and went until 9, totally happy with that.
I just cannot do it when it continues on till 12 o'clock in the morning.
For some reasons, I find that Sundays are a little tougher for me.
Sundays are tougher.
To really like, you know, because like my wife was like, why don't you like go on over there and just like do the show with Andrew? I'm like, you know why? Because 2 hours into it, I'm gonna like I'm gonna fall apart. You know, I'm gonna want to go to bed Sunday night. You know, but I ended up watching it at home and it was great. I was just on the couch by myself while my wife watched Killing Eve.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a great show.
All right, Monday Night Raw.
We'll go quick on it.
It was okay. How do you feel about the Monday Night Messiah nonsense?
I hated it.
Okay.
I hated it. I hated everything about it. Not a fan.
I think it's it's interesting and cool imagery because they gave him like the stained glass and everything. And I think this is a takeoff of everybody calling him CrossFit Jesus.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the problem is just how Raw's written. You know, they come up with the idea and then it's just written. It's too many words, man. Everybody uses too many words in their sentences on Raw.
Do you want it to be just grunts and yells?
Yeah.
Like old school.
Like I feel like everybody, it's like 5 too many words in a sentence.
Give me an example. Not specifically pulled from the show, but just give me an example.
Like when someone is challenged, like Drew, for example, right?
Sure. Okay.
I have an issue on how they booked Drew this week.
How they Drew and Drew.
Drew and Drew. Drew and Drew. It's a new show on Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with how they are projecting him as a babyface. This week, they made him into that smiley babyface.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for a character that you're like, oh crap, this guy is mean. He's big.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to beat Brock Lesnar. Now he's coming out smiling. And, you know, the 1, 2, 3 is fine that he does that.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't in his gears wearing a t-shirt. Like, they really are doing this whole, I don't know. They write baby faces really corny.
But they've always done that. I think that's a big thing, you know, because you have to, right?
Yeah.
You have to get the kids in on it. I think going into it, like Drew is a good. Do you think he could be the guy to pull the company?
I don't know.
Do you think he could cross over a little bit into that, like, oh wow, Drew McIntyre's like everywhere now?
I don't know. I think that's a good point. I think he's easily could become that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But think of why certain people crossed over.
Okay.
right? Like, let's think about Austin. Austin crossed over because of the era he was in.
Mm-hmm.
It was that in-your-face, F my boss, anti-establishment, 90s MTV, extreme sports, Howard Stern,
Richard Bay,
Girls Gone Wild. It was all counterculture, and that's what worked. Counterculture and like anti-establishment. The Rock worked because of the same exact thing.
Absolutely.
But the opposite.
Right. He was the cooler.
Flashy. He's cooler. Right. NWO. Anti-establishment. DX. Anti-establishment. You don't have that anymore.
It's true. Everything is pro-establishment.
Everything is pro-establishment. And even the bad guys are pro-establishment.
It's
like Seth Rollins and the Authority and all that stuff. It's done in a strange way where I think it speaks about culture.
Yes.
On how things can't be too meaningful because they're afraid it's going to upset somebody.
Yeah.
Like if you're too mean, it's going to turn people off. If you're too nice, it's going to turn people off.
But my counterpoint to that is the show began with Randy Orton murdering Matt Hardy.
So good.
And them showing kids in the crowd crying.
Yeah, Brian Alvarez said a kid in front of him was starting to cry.
Right.
And again.
So how do you explain that?
You know what? I can't. Really well done.
Is it the fact that like they give some guys carte blanche that they could get away with doing that?
They have their moments, and I think this has to do with the fact that there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Okay. They
have their moments where there's total mental clarity, and they're able to execute from start to finish something really well. Now, that's not saying that next week Randy Orton's not going to come out there and do something stupid because the writing changes every single week.
Right.
Everything changes over and over again. So I think I think Randy Orton has been booked better than anybody else since Royal Rumble.
Since forever.
The dude is so good and believable in this character. He murdered Matt Hardy. I guess this is his send-off now, unless he comes back next week.
Yeah.
Murdered Edge. I was told he'll do it to Christian.
Great.
And Jeff, possibly. Because Jeff's in the Performance Center right now working out.
I'd love to see him just murder all these dudes. Also, before when you said F my boss, I thought you were going to say F my balls.
F my balls.
Would be a great t-shirt for us.
That is a great t-shirt.
That Man the Podcast, F my balls.
I listen, I think Randy Orton is one of the most believable bad guys in that company.
When he's feeling it.
And I think he's feeling this.
Absolutely.
He really took pleasure in hitting Matt Hardy in the head over and over again.
It's his buddies, right? Like he came up with like all these guys. And Randy's an interesting dude. The Edge thing is fantastic. This puts so much fire on the burner for Edge. And I would love to see Christian come out and be like, hey, what are you doing to my buddies? And then you get what I would really like to see, Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton at Elimination Chamber.
Oh, to get revenge, and then he murders him.
Right. And then Edge shows up at the end of that.
Well, here's a good thing. Hothead in our chat room says, Andrew, the counterpoint to that is MJF. Being too mean.
Not being able to be too mean is MJF. What do you mean?
MJF is very mean.
Right.
Maybe he goes over the line, but that's fine. You're supposed to feel that way.
I think he's goofy. That's why. That's why he can get away with it. Yeah. I think he's got that little shred of goofiness that lets him get away with it. Like Flair. Like all those old Flair promos where he would point to the audience and basically tell people they're poor and pieces of shit. Flair has always been a little bit goofy. So I think that's why he can get away with it. If you're like I think when the Dudleys were heels.
Oh, like, in ECW.
Absolutely.
That was beyond mean.
Right. They were just brutal, tough guys berating everybody, you know? And that was like, I can see like if it was a younger crowd, how that would be a turn off.
MJF does it with a smile.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right. He's breaking chops.
Yeah.
But also his social media reflects like his real personality at times. You know, like it's very tongue in cheek with that guy. But is Randy the top heel in the business right now?
Yeah.
By virtue of destroying Edge and destroying Matt Hardy.
Yes, at this moment, yes, 100%. Well, Brock Lesnar and him.
Okay.
Right, but definitely him.
Brock Lesnar by default.
By default.
Yeah, because he doesn't cut any promos. He just shows up and demolishes people, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel about the rest of Raw?
Yuck.
Okay.
Didn't do anything for me. AJ Styles cut that promo. The main event was a little weird. I'm not really behind how they did that main event. It looks like it's going to be Seth and Kevin Owens.
Great.
Right? For WrestleMania?
Sure.
Is that what they're going towards?
Or elimination chamber.
I don't like him doing the stunner.
Why?
Just doesn't look it.
I think we're going to see a lot of older moves being incorporated into the new roster.
To pop.
Yeah.
It's been almost 20 years. I think we could have people do stunners. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, a stunner is great. I think, well, Seth has the pedigree, right?
Seth has his special pedigree.
Who's going to start doing the rock bottom?
I want Samoa Joe to start doing. Well, he kind of does doing
The Uranagi.
Uranagi, yeah.
But like a real rock, like a
real, one of these, looking side to side and doing it.
Because you can, and what Bray Wyatt's doing the mandible claw.
Yeah.
So,
that is interesting. Bray Wyatt's doing a mandible claw, which I love him doing it. Perfectly suitable for him.
Yeah. Who gets the last ride?
Somebody was doing it. Wasn't somebody doing it for a little bit?
Roman was doing like a version of it.
Roman, maybe.
I wouldn't mind seeing Roman do. Who gets the tombstone?
Oh, nobody. Nobody's gonna get a tombstone for a very long time.
You don't think so?
No.
Big dude.
It's amazing how it's Okada and it's Undertaker.
I think
and Kane.
The rules are different because Kota Ibushi does the last ride.
Kota Ibushi does do a last ride, yeah.
Dijakovic tombstone.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Right,
big guy doing a tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
This is something, and I want to touch on this before we continue to some of the news, and then viewer questions, guys. Remember, submit your questions in the chat room before we wrap it up, because I'm on a construction site right now. All of a sudden,
it's starting to get a little.
It's raining men. I want you to think about this,
please.
We look at wrestling, and you go online, and no matter how great a character is, somebody's crapping on and going meh. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that we got into as kids.
Okay.
Undertaker, for example.
Sure.
One of the goofiest characters ever. On paper.
Ooh, not to a 9-year-old.
You look at this, not to a 9-year-old, exactly.
Yeah.
You look at the Undertaker character, and you're seeing a zombie. If you were 25 and 30, and social media was around in 1990, 1991, what do you think the internet would be saying? You know what? I know the answer because I went on a BBS forum that I found from that era, and what people are saying about the Undertaker.
Older people,
and they were brutal, and they were saying exactly what everybody says now.
Interesting.
About all these weird characters. This is so unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, they're ruining him. Mean Mark Calloway. He was so good in WCW. Uh-huh. He was so good in this. This guy is a giant. He's going to be a comedy act. He's a cartoon character. Mm-hmm. And then some guys talking about lunch boxes with him and tombstones they're going to be selling.
Yeah.
You know what? They sold all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody loved it. And 30 years later, we're still talking about The Undertaker having a match. So
oh my God.
It's interesting how, but I never heard that perception ever about that character, ever growing up. In the wrestling magazines, internet culture, when it started booming on the forums, nobody talked about how goofy the Undertaker's character really is.
Nothing but love, man.
Nothing but love for the character. It is the same exact thing. Where these kids are now watching Bray Wyatt, and they're watching Randy Orton murder somebody, and they're watching, Demon Balor, and they're watching Braun Strowman, and they love these characters.
Yeah.
It's a very different look. It's a very different outlook, and that's what these characters are for. The things that we love now are things that we loved at 9 years old.
Absolutely.
It wasn't catered to a 35-year-old man.
No, it still isn't.
It technically still isn't. Considering, I mean, the problem that they have is that they haven't developed younger characters, and it's all older people now that are watching. It's 55 plus is their big thing. It is an interesting perspective to remember when you're watching wrestling. When you don't like something, you sometimes have to say, "This match is not for me."
You have to take a step back.
This character is not developed for me, and I could appreciate that. I could understand where they're going. Bray Wyatt is this group's Undertaker. He's terrifying. Sure. He's unbeatable, and there's 8-year-olds being afraid of him, and 6-year-olds being afraid of him.
Good spooky guy.
That is the character.
It's tough to...
In 15 years, these kids are going to talk about it like he's the Undertaker.
I agree with that 100%. It's also tough that, if you think about it this way, if you take a step back, like you said, sometimes people can say, hey, this character doesn't do it for me, this character doesn't do it for me. How many spooky guys did they have to go through between Undertaker and Bray Wyatt to get here? Think about that.
How many spooky guys did they have to go? Well, we had Kane, and he worked.
Gangrel,
spooky guy.
Boogeyman,
spooky guy. Mordecai failed.
Mordecai failed. Papa Shango.
Papa Shango's failed.
Kevin Thorne.
Kevin Thorne failed.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm sure
sure
there's
more.
Right.
There has to be more.
The spooky guys, just like it has to. I feel like it has to come from the guy's heart.
Sting worked, but Sting really wasn't a spooky guy. He was a vigilante.
He was turned into a spooky guy
Later on.
I think WWE turned Sting into a spooky guy.
130% accurate. And also, let's talk about this also before we go into this.
Please.
I wanted to sum this up because I got asked because of the scoops that we got.
Scoops, baby.
I've been asked 1,000 times about Sting versus The Undertaker.
2 scoops, baby.
First of all, Sting versus The Undertaker was never a thing.
Right.
Okay? That match was never a thing. It was never even thought of when we were growing up. They were not comparable opponents in the same realm. That is something that manifested way later on.
Absolutely.
And very different characters. There's no reason why those two became a thing. With that said,
I'll tell you why they became a thing. Big black jackets.
Big black jackets. That's why. Dusters, leather dusters. With that said, I don't expect that match to happen. Sting is not cleared to have a match as of 4 weeks ago now. He was still not cleared. I do want to say that they did not book Sting bad in his return. It was just an unfortunate thing that happened.
He got hurt.
He got hurt because he was hurt. You know, that was the problem.
As much as I would like to see Sting versus Undertaker, I think it's 10 years too late, number one. Number two, AJ Styles versus Undertaker is a more fun match to think about.
People are crapping on it, though.
Why? Don't you want to see AJ bounce around the ring against the Undertaker?
Listen, that's a perfect opponent for him.
Absolutely.
And he could bounce around. Undertaker doesn't have to do anything, and it could be considered a great match.
Plus, you get the added bonus of AJ calling in his boys and Taker cleaning house against the OC, which I think is fun.
Or maybe Kane showing up.
Yeah.
Maybe Sting showing up and throwing a couple haymakers.
Sure.
I'm gonna hold off on saying something.
Okay.
Because I was told something and I cannot verify it yet.
Can you want to give me the icky?
I'll give you a little bit of the icky. The NWO, some schmaz with the NWO.
Great. I mean, that's
not in the Taker match. I'm just saying that is being thrown around.
I think I know what you're talking about. Cool.
So, because you were kind of close
the other day.
Very
nice. Go back and watch the other episodes, guys.
You were kind of close with some stuff.
Hogan does this. For life and.
What would you do if Hogan? You know how he does like the kiss my ass? He used to do that. What if he just drops his pants? He's wearing a thong and then he does the kiss my ass at WrestleMania.
Oh, I thought you meant like in here.
Oh, in here, what would you do? If he comes to life, the Hogan plush buddy.
But see, that's like late '80s Hogan.
Love that. That's my favorite version of him.
Yeah, and if that Hogan came to life, I'd just be like, let's go on an adventure.
Dream. I want to create this.
Please.
I want this to happen.
Please.
Okay, Hulk. Listen, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna look at the camera and talk to you,
brother.
I want to do this. I have an idea. I want you to come here, come to the studio, and then I want the Hogan buddy there, and then all of a sudden, I want him to just come to life. I want to say like Mecca Lecca High, Mecca Heiny Ho, like Pee Wee Herman. And then all of a sudden, poof, smoke everywhere, and it's you, but it's you from the 80s. Can you make that happen? I just want you to transform back into the 80s.
Do you think he has enough magic in him to do that?
Hogan has all the magic, man.
Oh, no.
With the power of Hulkamania, he can do whatever he wants.
What if he just all this happens, Hogan shows up at the studio, we're talking to Hulk Hogan, you cast the magic spell, boom, this guy turns into late 80s Hogan, doesn't know where he is, pulls a gun out,
and just shoots us.
Just boom.
Out of his yellow tights?
Shoots you. He's got the gat like behind him.
But here's the problem.
Back of his tights.
No, here's the problem. He turns to 8 ladies Hogan, but he ages really fast.
Late 80s. You said 8 ladies Hogan?
8 ladies.
That's great.
He turns to late 80s Hogan, but like the problem is, and then we're like palling around, like me, you, and him do like adventures in like everywhere together.
I'd love it.
So we go to Manhattan, and like someone bumps into us while we're getting hot dogs. And Hogan's like, no, brother, and just shoves the guy. And he's too strong. He doesn't know his own strength. But
pushes him into traffic.
The problem is he ages really fast.
Okay.
So like we only have like an hour and a half with him before
Limited time
he turns into mush.
Well, we can't go to Manhattan because that's 35 minutes on the train. That eats up the train.
No, it's a montage.
Okay, all right.
We just magically appear there.
he's got teleportation powers.
Teleportation powers. We just palling around the city.
Mm-hmm.
We're jumping on his back. He's all oily, so we can't even get on.
Is the way he teleports by shooting us both?
That's how
so like he pulls the gun, he shoots you, and then all of a sudden we're in Rockefeller Center.
And then everything disperses, and it's us dying of carbon monoxide poisoning, getting dragged out of here by the firefighters.
The big reveal is that there was a gas leak the whole time. Oh boy, that's a good one.
That's how this fantasy ends.
Somebody's gonna have to animate this.
Us
I wish.
passed out.
Oh, so good.
Passed out in the studio, and the final shot is the Hogan plush, and it just winks at the camera.
We're gonna have to film that at some point, and/or
this needs to be animated.
Somebody could animate that. Oh my god!
Someone needs to draw at least the photo of us dying of carbon monoxide poisoning at the desk, fantasizing about Hulk Hogan taking us on an 80s adventure.
This is like us in the middle of 80s Times Square on his shoulders.
Yeah,
like this.
Just palling around, man. Fucking palling around.
Brother, you want to do some questions?
That is my ultimate fantasy. I will give up everything I've ever had in my life to pal around with
Don't
Hogan
say that, man. That's like a monkey claw kind of
thing.
Oh,
the finger goes down.
Oh, man. That might come. Imagine if that comes true tomorrow. Next time we do a show, you
wake
wasted
up,
your one wish.
And my one wish in life was that I'm palling around with 80s Hogan in 80s Times Square.
Your one magic wish, man.
Shit, you know what? It's worth it.
Brother.
I'll take it.
Want to do questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Hothead 567. What will this era of wrestling be called in 20 years' time? The Wednesday Night Wars? I don't think so.
No. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how this is going to be told?
Mm-hmm.
It depends. Listen, you watch your Ruthless Aggression thing. Holy moly. I know a lot of people made it into a big deal at WWE's revisionist history. I don't know why people are so shocked that WWE would not mention that they were being sued by the World Wildlife Federation.
And everything went
for
our
trademark.
way.
And by the way, here was the issue, though. You know, a lot of that was that WWE was able to use the WWF trademark in the States.
Right.
The problem was they couldn't use it overseas. And at the time, when they had gotten public, they really were going to do a global expansion. That was part of the plan, to get more involved in Europe and in the UK. And they would have been, it would have been a major problem. Also, why is it a big deal? Federation is so stupid and old. A federation.
Interesting.
Right? If you think about it today, the World Wrestling Federation.
What other companies had federation in their name?
There's a whole bunch now still.
Well, that you can think about like from back in the day.
IWF.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
WWF.
WWF.
Or an association.
Okay.
There's that one too, AWA, an association.
Because I always feel like you had NWA.
NWA.
AWA. Florida Championship Wrestling from Florida.
Championship Wrestling from Florida is
USWA, right? It was always Wrestling Association.
Not a federation.
Not a federation, right? So if they went back to the F now, how do you think that would play out?
I think it's just outdated. It's not a term that's used. You know what I think of federation? You know what comes to mind?
What?
Star Trek.
Oh, the Federation. Yeah.
I think that's what comes to mind. A federation.
Starfleet.
Yeah.
So you don't know what this era is going to be called?
I don't know what this era is going to be called. I did have a question here. Before you go into yours, I want to get this. Hall of Fame rumors. So, all right. So here's something. British Bulldog's going into Hall of Fame.
Okay.
The Bulldog family went to Stanford to meet with WWE. They're going to be doing DVDs and a lot of specials on him.
Great.
That's been worked out. So he's going into Hall of Fame, which is well-deserved. He is one of those last guys from that era to have to go in. Very important. Also, the Bella twins were rumored to be going into the Hall of Fame. I have not been able to confirm that other than like two sources, but I think it's coming from the same source. And the other one is Liger.
So happy.
I have heard that Liger will be in the Hall of Fame.
We did talk about this a few years ago when he did that NXT.
Yeah, you said 100% he's
just
coming
like,
in.
Yeah, that's the only reason they're doing this, like just to get him
but
into that.
Why not Muta?
Spot.
If you got Liger in, now you got to do Muta.
Give him a couple of years.
Muta's he's an NWA champion. Of course he has to go in. But Liger going into Hall of Fame would be great, and I'm curious what they'll do with him. I don't know if they're going to do like an actual Hall of Fame for Liger because they don't have any footage they could use.
Well, they could use the the footage he had with what's his name when he wrestled on NXT.
Just once.
Yeah, Tyler Breeze.
But they also they don't own that that joint venture show from the 90s that they did.
Right.
Where Liger was involved.
I think they can license.
I hope that they do some sort of licensing with him, or maybe some of the other independent promotions that he's done. Oh, you know what? He's done Ref Pro. He'll do a lot of those.
Yeah.
A lot of the UK promotions. But man, what a great story for this guy this year. He wrapped up his career at Wrestle Kingdom. Was one of those junior heavyweights that he established that junior heavyweight division.
Absolutely.
Where guys like Jericho and Eddie and Benoit and now Malenko, all these guys kind of took the ball and ran with it. And what an amazing career. I just want to say, what a great way to kind of honor him.
I got another thing for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
This might also make you shit your pants.
Okay, tell me.
So
is Hogan come back to life?
No. He's alive, brother. So again, very corporate structure, right? The rumor of Triple H wanting to sign Okada is very big at this point. Who knows if there's any validation to it? But go to the Hall of Fame. If Liger could do a speech or if he has a translator, that's one thing. They pan to the audience. Special invitation. Okada's there.
Why not?
Right?
Why not?
I think that would be a nice moment because, you got to have Liger come over with a couple of people, right? Just to have like a thing.
I would think somebody would have to be there. Listen, I think Tanahashi I would like to see Tanahashi in WWE to have a match in WWE over Okada.
Okay.
I think Tanahashi would kind of be. I don't know. I feel like it would be different for Tanahashi.
Tanahashi, John Cena.
Yeah, that's the match. I don't even care if it makes sense or not. I just want to see it.
Yeah. So no Killer Cross on NXT. Does that mean main roster? I think people are a little too hot on the Killer Cross thing. Like they announced his signing, 2 weeks ago, and they showed Timothy Thatcher on Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm very surprised about the Timothy Thatcher thing.
Why is that?
I did not expect them to go. I'm curious what they'll do. I just want to say that because I don't even want to say what I want to say because people are going to take it as a bad thing.
Okay.
I think his style is very boring for the WWE.
You said that last week.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think his style is very boring for WWE. I don't think he's going to obviously have to change it a little bit, but I'm curious how this works. I would like to be wrong.
Okay. Who wins? 89 Hogan or 2010 Cena?
89 Hogan, brother. Hogan must pose.
Absolutely.
Always.
Who challenges Cole for the championship?
Well, you got Balor as one possible. Balor.
Gargano.
You got Gargano again or Ciampa again.
Yeah.
Because that's unresolved. So I don't know.
You could do what better way to get these guys on WrestleMania by doing a 4-way?
On WrestleMania?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be on WrestleMania. I think it's going to be on NXT. Yeah.
With Brooklyn being the 5-year anniversary, do they save Sasha and Bayley till SummerSlam? I think that feud's done. I have no interest in that, right?
I don't even. You know what's funny though? Those two, the women's division has surpassed them.
Yes,
at this point,
absolutely.
Right? Isn't that something?
Very
I don't
interesting.
know. I don't know. I don't know what they do with that.
Will Matt Hardy come out in a wheelchair and body cast next week?
Oh my God,
I think he's done.
I would love to see him be more dismantled each and every week until he just turns to dust.
I really feel like the dude's done, and if his contract is indeed up, perhaps we'll see him on Wednesday night,
March 1st,
as the Exalted One.
Not this Wednesday. March 1st.
Two Wednesdays.
Well, I don't know what his clause is, but he'll definitely be. But here's the thing about Matt Hardy. People were complaining like this is how going to treat him after him coming back and being with the company for so long, and they're treating him like garbage. I'm like, do you know? They are helping him.
Right.
They're setting him up for an AEW return so well.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's almost like they are purposely making him look good.
Right.
Because you're killing this version of him kind of being reincarnated as broken or exalted or whatever the hell he's going to call himself.
Good. So good.
This is the problem when I say people can't look 2 steps ahead. They are actually doing him a favor by having him on TV right before he leaves.
And also at this point,
or if he doesn't leave, I don't know.
Right. At this point, if Matt Hardy ends up leaving, he will probably make even more money than he did during this run with WWE on the Indies.
I don't know if he's going to do Indies.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
listen, dude, the guy's a big star. He can make money. He's fine.
Absolutely. Does AEW and WWE do a collaboration at some point in the next 10 years? If so, what's your dream matches? I don't know about a collaboration, but like you could see it going the way of the dodo, where AEW just like buys WWE just buys AEW. You know?
I don't know. Maybe everything's
I can see
possible.
that.
By the way, they do have Liger footage from WCW.
Kenny versus Roman.
That's a match.
That's a match.
That's
right
a
there.
match.
That's it. Young
Yep.
Bucks, New Day.
Yeah, that's a match.
You know, that's it.
What else?
Orange Cassidy, Santino.
Santino.
That happened. That actually happened.
That
already
is
on the
happening,
Indies. Penta versus Andrade.
Penta Andrade. Okay.
You know, Penta versus Aleister Black.
Okay.
Great. You know, this is everybody. As the crowd says, all these guys. With WrestleMania being Hollywood, what about Miz versus? That was next year.
Next year.
With Miz, what about Miz versus Morrison for the WWE title? That's a big no. Thank you, sir.
No thanks. Stinky match.
If Tessa gets signed, this summer, does she go to NXT or straight to Raw? I think Tessa's probably more AEW bound than WWE bound, right?
I don't know where Tessa's bound now. I think that a lot of this stuff has to go away. WWE does have a bad taste from the Mae Young Classic with her because there was an incident. I don't know how her and Charlotte. I mean, the match really is her and Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
That's really the match right there. I don't know if it's even on their radar right now, but I mean, Tessa's doing well in Impact, so
yeah,
they wanted to stay.
Can you start a spinoff podcast, Hogan Men, Everything Hogan, just 1 hour every week?
Dude, let's do it.
For Hogan fan fiction.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
let's do Hogan fan fiction.
We can start with a little Hogan anecdote.
Oh, dude. Me, you, Hogan, and Brudeye. Jet skiing in Clearwater. 1992.
Boom. Can we guest star on Thunder in Paradise?
Dude, I cannot wait for that.
We need to invent time travel. Let's see. What do we got here? Predictions. Ciampa versus Gargano in a loser leave town match.
That's cool.
That's
Why not?
cool, yeah. From Mr. Gonzo himself, will NJPW have to cancel shows leading up to or including Dominion due to the coronavirus?
They are. Stardom canceled.
Yes.
And I believe New Japan is canceling some shows. So it's very, it is scary over there.
Hothead 567, Andrew, any news on the second AEW TNT show?
I don't know if it's going to be on TNT. It's going to be on a Warner property.
Okay.
It could be on TNT, but they're adding a 1 hour show, and it's not going to be after dark. Nothing yet.
Solus asks, anything you guys are big collectors of?
Yeah, what do you collect?
I got the comic books.
You collect
I'm
comic
a big
books?
comic book guy.
I have a lot of older comic books.
Yeah.
What do I collect?
You got the Funkos and
I got Funkos,
you
but
got
I
them-
buy it for the
You
studio.
got like the
though.
masks behind you.
I do. I
That's
got the
cool.
masks. I got a couple posters. Nothing like crazy.
I would say limited, but not everything wrestling memorabilia for you.
Yeah.
You got the belt. You got some frame stuff back there.
What's the nerdiest thing you have of a collection of?
Oh, I don't know about nerdiest thing, but like, I'm a big Metal Gear guy, so I have
Okay.
like a lot of Solid Snake figures,
Okay.
like almost everyone, like that, like really nice high end ones. A lot of Hellboy stuff. I really would have to dig deep. Like I don't know. Like I have like a lot of weird shit.
Like
at
I got a
home.
stamp collection.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I had a tremendous stamp collection.
Do you still have it?
I still have it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're like really good stuff.
You gonna get rid of those stamps?
No. I don't know. I have a tremendous basketball card collection.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball cards, Marvel cards.
Yeah.
All worthless.
I didn't think. I never got the stamp thing.
You never got into stamps.
I never got the stamp thing because they would always be like, "Well, why don't you collect stamps?" I'm like, "I got comic books."
My
man."
dad
Like,
collected stamps.
Ah,
that's why.
okay.
Yeah.
Coin collections too. I never got into.
I have a coin collection.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice and extensive.
I
coin
got a nice
collection?
little coin collection.
Very cool.
What do I collect? I'm trying to look around here. I have a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I find something cool that I like,
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Yeah,
Like I'm not like a Funko collector. I just have it for the studio.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the studio, I wouldn't have anything.
I think that's the big thing now too. Like getting older, like I pride myself on really curating the stuff I buy, as dorky and weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
You know, and like which is cool for my wife because she knows I'm not gonna get every single thing of something. You know, like I'm not gonna load up on 1,000
Porn.
Funkos. Porn,
I
definitely.
collect porn DVDs from the 90s, 80s.
VCDs from the mid 90s that only play on a Dell computer running Windows 95. Yeah, I mean a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
Let's see, what else do we have? Anything else before we wrap it up?
Do they save Moxley's title win till May on his 1 year anniversary?
I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Did you see the video of The Rock at the PC? Do you see him having a match in the near future? That's old footage.
No, that was new.
No, because they cut to ACH at one point.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's like a little older.
I do see him having a match.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's got to go out with a bang, right?
Yeah.
Biggest action star in the world.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna get an Oscar?
I don't think so. What do we got it for?
Best actor.
Best actor?
Best
He's not a great actor.
He's a pretty decent actor.
He's a really good actor, but not like an Oscar worthy.
Isn't it nuts how this dude is the biggest movie star in the world?
I think it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unbelievable.
The mind blowing thing is the Disney stuff.
The Disney stuff, but also there was a great. I forgot who did this interview. They were talking about Austin and how Austin didn't have that career. He came close, like with the Expendables. They don't just expand.
Expendables.
It's not a bunch of guys just getting fat.
They just blow into their thumbs and get like real big.
He had it with that and a couple movies, but the difference was he didn't have the right people behind him.
Yeah.
And The Rock did. The Rock had like the right people to push him as this megastar, and Austin didn't. But also, The Rock's charming and he's handsome, and
so is Austin. But like also
not like The Rock.
It's that voice, Like,
well, let me tell you something. That one.
Yeah. You're welcome. Imagine if he was Maui in Moana.
I want him to be Maui in Moana.
You're welcome. All right, let's get off this island. You some bitch. All right. Would Warner Media buy AEW if WWE was close to buying AEW in 10 years' time? This is just pure fiction.
Pure fiction. I think Warner Media would be very willing to buy him if they continue on making the profits they're making. They're already turning a profit.
I would say, who would Disney buy first?
WWE.
Yeah.
WWE first.
That's going to happen.
I don't know what a Disney-fied WWE would look like.
The same.
No. Disney Plus, no adult content, no cursing. They put their adult content on Hulu.
Right.
That's how they're doing it.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, like, look at The Mandalorian. We're going to go full circle with that. But, arguably pretty violent.
Arguably pretty violent. Unless Fox buys WWE.
That would be fascinating.
That would be very fascinating. Fox property.
Do you think that's a possibility?
I think a Fox buying WWE right now is bigger possibility than Disney buying WWE.
Interesting. Shin, what's up? Batista versus The Rock. Who's the biggest legend star of the screen at WrestleMania? Oh, that's tough.
I think that's a match that people would want to see.
I'd like to see that too, especially because, Rock is the biggest movie star in the world, right? I would say, even though Batista has been in a Bond flick and a bunch of Marvel movies, and the new Blade Runner, I would say The Rock edges him out because of how powerful that Fast and Furious franchise is.
Tremendous. I can't believe we're on our 18th movie. Does NXT come off a Wednesday since they started to lose? So here's the issue. The reason why the schedule is kind of in limbo is because SmackDown may come off of Fridays.
Okay.
Right? The plan wasn't to stay on Fridays for a long term. It was a temporary thing. Putting SmackDown on Tuesdays would be a better option on Fox. Fridays is a terrible night for it.
Thursdays? Oh, football.
Football's on Thursdays. They can't do Thursdays. They don't want to compete with football. It would be Tuesday. So if I don't know what the right night would be. Wednesdays are a great night.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's a good night for NXT.
That's interesting. So if they swapped the two shows, do you think SmackDown would do better numbers?
I think if SmackDown went to Tuesdays, Wednesdays, yes, and I think it would hurt AEW.
Okay.
I think SmackDown would do over 3.5 million.
I feel like that would be a Pandora's box.
It would be a Pandora's box.
I think WWE's thinking of like, oh, we'll blow them out of the water, and then when like 2 weeks later, when you see AEW pulling out all the stops, I think they would be like, oof, like what have we done?
Let's see what's on Tuesdays on Fox.
Shin Solidus, and he says, "Is Rich making his debut as the third member of AOP and Rezar's Sicilian brother?"
Yes, Stromboli.
Absolutely. I'm showing up, and I'm trying. My storyline is I'm trying to get them back to work at the pizzeria.
Is that the gimmick?
What are you guys doing? You're leaving me heartbroken. Who's gonna flip the pies?
The Fox website is absolutely abysmal, and I cannot even see what the schedule is. 11:30 p.m. somehow I ended up there. So you got the news at 10. Come on, man. Let's go backwards. Come on.
Get the news, baby.
This
It would be
website
great
is
if
terrible.
SmackDown was just a big advertisement for the news at 10.
I would love that.
Roman Reigns giving like weather, and if you want to see what's happening on the East Coast weather, believe that.
Believe that.
There's a tsunami coming.
So at 8 o'clock, they have... my God, I can't even work this website. It's so bad. Sorry. I think that's it, right? Are we done?
That's it, baby.
Is Edge returning to save Raw after Elimination Chamber? Edge is returning anytime soon. I don't know how long they're trying to keep him off. But that's going to be a hot moment when he comes back. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Go to our website, gfknetwork.com. Subscribe to us everywhere podcasts are available. I genuinely appreciate you guys hanging out with us, watching with us. It's always fun. Remember to subscribe. Remember to join our Patreon, patreon.com/MattMenPodcast. It allows us to do these bonus shows, the watch-alongs. I think we're going to start going down the WrestleMania rabbit hole and watching main events. Big WrestleMania matches coming up.
I think we should watch WrestleMania 20 and 21.
20 and 21. Let's
Pretty
do it.
much top to bottom.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you guys cool with watching Chris Benoit stuff with us?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my god.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
We'll just call him something else.
Actually, we did.
We did watch Benoit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for this week. See you later. Take care.
Later.